tower is the Queen Elizabeth II tower. The bell, Big Ben, that chimes the hours weighs 13.5 tonnes and is slightly cracked. So are many of the people that actually work in the building itself. This end of the building, and the furthest end of the building is the House of Lords. We're turning round now to head downriver, and as we're turning round, the building that will be coming into view on our right hand side is County Hall. It was opened in 1922. It was the main town hall or city hall of London. No longer used as the town hall. That's now in the east end of London. This building has been converted to apartments, Shrek's Adventureland, there's an aquarium in there, and also the London Dungeon. So more of a touristy place now than a place of government. On the left hand side, as we start to turn around, you see the building with the 4 separate green roofs. That is the Ministry of Defence. That's the headquarters for the Army, Air Force and the Navy. As much of that building is underground, as you can see above, because it houses a nuclear fallout shelter. It's got a direct link to number 10 Downing Street, Party Central, and the Houses of Parliament. In front of the Ministry of Defence, the white column with the golden eagle on the top. This is a war memorial to the men and women of the Royal Air Force who lost their lives in the First and Second World War.
Is it the golden eagle?
The golden eagle weighs 2.5 tonnes. It's made from captured enemy artillery from the First World War. And the eagle, with beak, is pointing towards France, where many of the airmen fell from the skies in the Second World War. The London Eye, here on the right hand side, opened in 2000. When it was opened, it was the tallest Ferris wheel in the world. It's no longer the tallest, it's only number 4 now in the pecking order. There's 2 in America and 2 in Asia that are bigger than this one. And there are 32 pods that are on the Eye, and there are 32 London boroughs. And each pod is named after a London borough. It was only supposed to stand for 4 years, but it makes so much money. It's been there 23. It makes on average about £400,000 a day. On the left hand side you see this old grey ship here with the red and blue funnel. That's an old car ferry from the River Humber in Yorkshire. Permanently moored here. It's a floating pub, very popular on a sunny afternoon. Bit expensive because it's a bit touristy, but well worth a visit. A couple of beers on there just to watch the world go by. This construction site on the left hand side here is part of the Tideway Tunnel, which is like its called nickname is the Super Sewer. It's a sewerage upgrade system in London to upgrade the old Victorian sewers. It's all completely underground, this construction site. The reason you see any physical evidence of it is because all the barges with the materials come and go to the site, keeping heavy trucks and lorries off the road. This is the Charing Cross Railway Bridge. Charing Cross is up on the left hand side there. Now when we pass under this bridge, if any drips come down, any drips fill on your head, don't worry.
We're in a tunnel now.
The train drivers are told to empty the toilets before the train gets into the station. On the right hand side there, the hall. It was opened in 1951. One of the finest concert halls for its acoustics. Many famous people have performed in the Royal Festival Hall, including Pavarotti, Frank Sinatra, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, David Bowie, Amy Winehouse. The list goes on. Unfortunately, the people that I've just mentioned are no longer with us. We are waiting for Justin Bieber to play there. On the left hand side, on the embankment wall there, is Cleopatra's Needle. It was given to this country as a goodwill gift following Nelson's victory over Napoleon at the Battle of the River Nile. The needle is over 3,000 years old. It's one of a pair. Its twin stands in Central Park, New York. The building on the left-hand side with a green roof and a single flagstaff in the centre is the famous Savoy Hotel, one of London's famous five-star hotels. The main entrance of the Savoy is in the Strand, and the entrance roadway in and out of the Savoy Hotel is the only road in this country where we drive on the right-hand side. This is Waterloo Bridge, opened in 1945, built in the... This bridge was built by women because most of the men were away fighting in the Second World War. The only time and under budget here on the Thames. The building on the left-hand side with a small green dome in the middle, this is Somerset House, originally built as the palace for the Duke of Somerset, although he never actually occupied. He was executed in the Tower of London for treason before the building was finished. It's the King's College, London now, and in the extensive grounds for the Somerset House, in the summer months, is an open-air cinema, which is open to the public. See this old black and white ship here on the left-hand side, looking a bit sorry for itself there. Do you see it there?
Just taking a picture of the world.
The St. Catherine.
Okay?
Well, this was the royal barge.
Mommy?
Whenever any member of the royal family would travel on the Thames, that's the vessel that they used. As you can see, it's no longer used as the royal barge. There's a new one now called the Gloriana. It looks a bit scruffy, as I say there, but actually it does still go out occasionally, that boat there. When Harry comes over, he uses that one. That's the spare. This white ship here on the left-hand side is the Wellington, a sloop from the New Zealand Navy from the Second World War. It's a floating club for master mariners and retired sea captains. Behind the Wellington, you see the stone archway? That's the Temple Gate of London that we've just entered. We've entered one of the smallest cities in the world. The City of London is 1 square mile, surrounded by suburbs, the Greater London area. I'll just tell you a bit about the river itself here. Look. You see on the embankment wall there, on the left-hand side, you see the lions with the rings in their mouths? The tide reaches those lions' mouths twice a day. It's the difference between high tide and low tide is 7.1 metres or 27 feet. It's still going out, so it's still dropping. As you can see the green tide marks at the top of the wall there. That's how high it goes, twice a day. Now also on the river wall there on the left hand side, you see those chains that are hanging from the wall? And they're also hanging from this construction site here. Do you see all those chains all hanging down? They are for if you fall into the river, you've got something to hang on to for being, so you're not swept away. And the reason that they are at all different heights is because of the different heights of tides that you get on the Thames. So if you were to go in, you've always got something you can grab hold of instead of being swept away with the high running, the high speed running tidal Thames. The building there on the left hand side with the sloping roof and the brown spire, that's the old prestigious City of London School for Boys. And many of this country's leading statesmen were educated in that building, including Lord Asquith and Sir Winston Churchill, and both became Prime Ministers. And myself, of course, I was educated in there. Well, I wasn't educated in there at all. This is the Blackfriars group of bridges. This is Blackfriars Road Bridge, opened by Queen Victoria in 1869. The red painted columns are on the Railway Bridge, designed by Brunel, a famous Victorian engineer. And the last bridge in this group is the Blackfriars Railway Bridge. Blackfriars is the area on the left-hand side. As you pass under the Blackfriars, ahead of us on the left-hand side is St Paul's Cathedral. It's the second St Paul's Cathedral to stand there. The first St Paul's Cathedral to stand on that site had a tall, thin spire, and for about 5 years when it first opened, it was actually the tallest building in the world. It burnt down in the fire of London in 1666. The St Paul's you see there today was designed by Sir Christopher Wren. It took 35 years to build. It was opened in 1710. The brown building in front of St Paul's Cathedral is the new buildings for the prestigious City of London School for Boys. On the right hand side, this building here with a tall chimney with a tall smokestack. This is the old Bankside Power Station. The building has been converted to the Tate Modern Art Gallery. It's free to enter the Tate Modern Art Gallery there. You can go in there for completely, but then if you go in there and have a look at some of this modern art, you'll understand why it's free to get in. On the right hand side, you see the circular white building there with the fact that is an exact replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. That is an exact copy of the original Globe Theatre. It's made of wood, it's open air, there's no electricity in there, no special effects, no stage amplification. If you were to watch a play in there, it would be exactly how it would have been performed over 400 years ago in the time of William Shakespeare. Except for one thing. The women's parts in those plays now are played by women. In Shakespearean times, women's parts were played by men because it was immoral for women to work in the theatrical industry. Also from the Globe Theatre we get the saying box office. That comes from that building. A small wooden box would be passed around the audience before a play. They would put the entry fee in the box. That box would be locked into a room. That room became known as the box office. This Southern Bridge. And as we pass under Southern Bridge, ahead of us there on the right hand side, it's a very popular, as you can see there, all the people there standing around, a very popular riverside pub with the red windows. It's called the Anchor of Bankside. It's so popular actually, us crews who work on these boats, we visit that pub every night after work. We'll go in there and we'll research these commentaries that we give you. So we do so much research into these commentaries, we could be in there all night. We could be in there till closing time, just to make sure that you do the research that we give you is all correct. This is the Cannon Street Railway Bridge. As you pass under the Cannon Street Railway Bridge, on the right hand side there, you see the grey building, Winchester Wall. Behind there is a small prison. It's an old debtor's prison. If you were in debt, you were thrown in there. It's called the clink. It's where the old English saying of being thrown in the clink comes from the prison that was behind there. It's in Clink Street, still there, Clink Street. In the gap here on the right hand side, where you see the trees coming into view, you will see Southwark Cathedral. Opened in 1275. In the cathedral is a Harvard Chapel, which is named after John Harvard. He was baptised in that cathedral, emigrated to America and founded the Harvard University in Massachusetts. This is London Bridge, opened in 1973. The fourth London Bridge to stand here. The London Bridge that stood here before this one, now Arizona, in the United States. And ship was on the desert, where it was re-erected as a tourist attraction. On the right hand side is the Shard of Glass, the tallest building in Western Europe. The building comprises of offices, apartments, luxury apartments, and the Shangri-La Hotel. Just recently, Will I Am from the Black Eyed Peas, he bought the penthouse apartment in that building there for £38 million. At the top of the yard is a observation deck. You can go up there, it's about £30 each to go up there to the observation deck, to right across London. But on the left hand side here, you see this building with a green glass dome at the top? That's the Sky Garden. That's number 20 Fenchurch Street. You can go up there for nothing. All you do is book online, skygarden.com. Book a time, you can go up there for nothing. The building here on the left hand side behind the trees is Watergate House. And this is the headquarters for His Majesty's Customs and Excise. Now if you're captured trying to smuggle drugs into the country, or if you're captured trying to smuggle too much alcohol in the country, it's taken from you, it's seized from you, that building there on the left hand side where it's all stored. They're supposed to incinerate it every year, but we've never seen any smoke come from that building. They do say that the Christmas parties in there, the staff Christmas parties are a bit special. This ship on the right hand side, painted in the Atlantic camouflage colours, is launched in Belfast in 1938. Saw action in the Second World War and the Korean War. Permanently moored here now. That's a floating museum. The same dockyard as the ill-fated Titanic in Belfast. This is Tower Pier. Show you a few more places. On the left hand side there, in amongst the trees, behind Tower Pier there, that's the Tower of London. Started during the reign of William the Conqueror in 1078. The oldest part of the Tower of London is the square tower in the centre where you see the flag flying. It's the White Tower or Caesar's Tower. There are 23 towers which surround the White Tower. Each part was added to by different kings and queens. In its time, the Tower of London has been a palace, a fortress, a prison, a zoo, a mint, an observatory, and now, of course, houses and guards the famous crown jewels. We're going to start to turn round now to go into Tower Pier, that's our destination. As we start to turn round, on the right hand side here, of course, you get a lovely view of Tower Bridge. Now Tower Bridge, it's not a stone bridge, it's a metal, it's a steel suspension bridge. The stonework is just for show down there with the Tower of London. And if you've got your cameras ready, look, there's your shot, look, bridge. There's another one coming, so you want to stick your phones on video mode. Picture, we go, you get here free of charge. There we go. As I say, this lower span of the bridge, you can see the actual split in the middle of the arch there. Look, you see the gap there. The bridge opens up to let ships to pass through it. And each section to this lower span are known as bascules. They weigh 1,100 tonnes each. Now if a ship is coming through the bridge, it has priority over police cars, ambulances, fire trucks. Ships must come through the bridge first. Anyone else has to wait. But there is only one day in the year that this bridge doesn't open. Just one day only, it's not allowed to open. Do we know what day that is? Anyone know what day this bridge doesn't open? Christmas Day? Boxing Day? No? Do we know? Do we know? No? New Year's? No? 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 The London Marathon. The London Marathon runs across this bridge. It's about a halfway point in Tower Bridge. 51,000 people are running across this bridge. Going to get a bit wet, it starts to open, isn't it? There we go. And as we pass under the Tower Bridge here, we leave 1 square mile of the City of London I was telling you about. We leave that behind us. This is the suburbs here, this side of the bridge. That's the City of London, that side of the bridge. We're going to turn around, well, we start to turn around now. We're going to head into Tower Pier, which is our first stop downriver. Passengers with big bus tickets or passengers for the Tower of London, this is your stop. Passengers for Greenwich, please remain seated. Greenwich will be our next stop, which is to our right hand side in that direction. As I did say earlier, I'm not a professional guide, and I do the commentaries to make the journey a bit more fun, which I hope I have done. If you'd like to show your appreciation for the efforts we make, you may do so when you leave the boat. I'll be standing by the gateway with a silver champagne bucket, a tip bucket. Now if you're wondering what happens to any of the money we collect in the bucket, it goes towards the maintenance of the equipment that we use to do the commentaries. But the building at the back end of the dock over the clock tower is called the Ivory House. When it was legal to trade in ivory, that building would store all the ivory off that we were imported from Africa. Obviously now completely illegally traded. All these ports and warehouses here, and this part of London was once the busiest port in the world. The oldest pub on the Thames, over 400 years. The pub was first opened Devil's Punch Bowl, and it was Royal Navy press gangs used to operate. If you were drunk, unconscious and sitting around in that pub, Navy press gangs would come in, posh in food and fresh fruit and food and that from the Canaries, including wine as well, sherry, brandy, all in wooden barrels, all into the Canary in the West India. Victoria warehouse, it's been converted to a dockside pub. Now if you were to go in there, you would think that you'd had a drink before you actually even started drinking in there, because the floor in the West Indian dock warehouse has got a really steep slope to it. So as you walk in, you start to topple over before you have a beer. Now the reason for this is because when the dockers used to unload the ships with the wine and the sherry and the brandy barrels, it was easy to roll them into the building for storage. That's why there's steep flooring. Still there. The River Thames, I'll tell you a bit about the river itself. The River Thames is 275 miles long, from the sea to the source. The source is in the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire. The Thames is tidal for 80 miles to Teddington, and Teddington means tide ending town. There are two tides every 24 hours. Tide comes in for 5 hours and goes out for 7. At the moment we are travelling with artist. That's the Greenwich there. Exactly how you see that today was painted by Canaletto. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've turned round. As you can see, we're going into Greenwich, our destination. As I did say earlier, not a professional guide, one of the crew